from Michigan, and she has had a lot of health challenges with her immune system and other things. And she's been working with this product now for about 6 months, I think.
Yeah.
And it's been a real blessing. And she's going to share her walk, and then Rachel will share, and then she's going to give us some documentaries there that we can see that I think will help us to understand.
Oh, did we lose somebody? Oh, no, there she is. All right. Well, thank you all for coming tonight. And thank you, Connie, for inviting everybody. I know everybody's time is very precious, but I also believe taking time for your health is just as precious. At least God has taught me that in the last year and a half. So for myself, just to be very quick, in 2019, in October, I fell and I broke my tibia. And that was the start of a lot of issues for me. After that, I was told I had anxiety so bad that I didn't know it was anxiety, and I thought I was having a heart attack. And my family has a history of heart problems, so my husband had me go to the emergency room. And when I was there at the emergency room, they said, "No, you're just having anxiety. You're not having a heart attack, but your thyroid numbers don't look quite right. You need to follow up with a physician." And I thought, well, that's kind of odd. I didn't know I've ever had any issues in that regard. And so I'm kind of, don't go to the doctor unless you absolutely have to. So I didn't have a family doctor. So fast forward, I got a family doctor. They ran my numbers. And although it might not mean anything to you guys, but my T3 and T4 were not out of range, but my antibodies were extremely high. And I was having trouble eating. I couldn't eat very well. I would be able to get down smoothies. I had GI issues and I was extremely tired. I would sleep all night, I guess pretty well, not the best. But when I would wake in the morning, I would felt like I hadn't slept. So in 2020, in February, somebody had introduced this product to me, and I had been through so much, guys. I was emotionally exhausted. I felt like I wasn't getting any answers. I had tried some natural supplements. I got a little better, but not very much. And I just couldn't believe that something out there as amazing as this is could actually help me. And so after that time period, fast forward another month, and COVID hit. And I found out within 2 months after COVID hit that they were going to close my place of business. So now, on top of having anxiety and eating issues, I was losing my job. And things were a little better, but they weren't much better. And then fast forward, after closing my store, I worked at the ABC Christian Book Center in Michigan. Somebody contacted me again, a different friend, and told me about this product. And my husband, ironically, in February, when I was first introduced, said, "Yes, let's try it. Yes, let's try it." And I said, "No, I can't. I just couldn't believe that something could help me." And then in October, my friend contacted me, a different one, and I said, "Are you kidding me? I can't do this. I'm now unemployed. I don't have any income, and you have to be kidding. I can't do this." And my husband, again, bless his heart, said, "Yes, yes, yes." And I said, "Oh," he said, "just do it." And so I said, "Okay, if I do it, you have to do it." And so if you knew my husband, he doesn't do much of anything as far as taking care of his health, either naturally or otherwise. He always just says God made him, and he can get through whatever. So we started in October taking this product, and within about, I would say about 2 months, maybe a little longer for me, I started noticing my anxiety was less. I was sleeping better. I wasn't feeling quite as tired. I was waking up ready to go in the morning. I started to be able to eat because I also took the probiotics that they offer. And things started to really turn around. Then fast forward a few more months into 2021, and we got hit with COVID in February. So it just seems like one thing after the other in the health realm. And we made it through COVID, praise God. And I believe it's also because this strengthened our immune system. And recently just found out within the last month that my husband has more serious health challenges than we knew. We knew he probably did have some because he's been overweight and he wasn't very good at what he watched to eat. He was better, but he wasn't great at it. And I believe that not only was this product brought for me, but it was brought for him. And we didn't know how sick he was. And guys, with some of the things he's dealing with, which is triglycerides and sugar levels, with all of that, he should have probably had complications from COVID, and he did not. So my belief is, but of course I can't say for certainty because we don't claim to treat, mitigate, or cure anything. He came through it just fine, and took me a little bit longer. They have said that I have an autoimmune of thyroid, which is Hashimoto's. My numbers are still in range, and basically they told me, go home, come back and see me when your thyroid dies, and then I'm going to give you a synthetic hormone. And that seemed kind of crazy to me, and I thought, I don't think so. I think God gave our bodies the ability to heal. So I came home, and in October we tried this, and I'm telling you, yesterday I was outside working in a flower bed, and guys, I couldn't do that a year ago. And I was working by myself. My husband was not out there with me. He did help me a little, but I couldn't have done that a year ago. So I equate a lot of my healing to this, as well as, of course, God and his prayers and asking him to bless it. But as you know, for women, we have a lot of hormonal issues, and all of my hormone levels were basically in the bucket when they checked me. And your hormones are made in your gut about 90%. So I'm going to go back now, maybe in May, and have my blood work run again and see where some of my thyroid levels are at. And then I'll probably retake, they have you do a spit test for your hormones. I'll probably retake that, but that's an out-of-pocket expense. And that's kind of where I'm at. So my husband has also seen improvements. He, I believed, was diabetic, which now I know he is by the lab results we got, but he had a lot of discoloration in his feet. And I said, you know, that's kind of a sign of a diabetic. And of course, he disbelieved me in some regard. You know, till you get it in writing, you kind of don't believe it. And his feet started clearing up. The coloration in his feet started getting better. So he believes as well that this product is healing from the inside out, which is different than anything else I've been introduced to. So with that, I'm going to introduce Rachel, and Rachel is a nurse by trade. She's also a wonderful mom of 2 children. Wow, I say 2 children. One is a 2-year-old and one is on the way. She's about to have another little one, a little girl. So, and she's also helped support her husband. He's a pastor. So Rachel's going to share with us maybe some of her short journey, and then also some of the more statistical things for you guys to take a look at, and then we'll answer questions after that. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you, Cheryl. That was really, I always learn a little bit more about your story, and you shared a couple things that were new to me. So that was a blessing. And like Cheryl already said, my name is Rachel. I live in upstate New York. I grew up in Michigan, and I'm a registered nurse and a mom. And I've always been healthy and interested in health. And about 5 years ago, I was introduced to specifically what we're going to be talking about tonight is the concept of nutrigenomics, which is basically nutrition that affects your genetic and cellular health. So I was introduced to this concept, and specifically, we will be talking about Protandim tonight. And you'll have a chance to write that down because I'll be talking about it a lot. But I was introduced to it. I thought, this is amazing science. I should learn more about it, but I didn't start using it in my life right away. About 2.5 years ago, right after I had my son, I started researching it more because someone recommended it to me that it would help me with depression, and it would help me with energy and other things that some back issues, chronic back issues I was dealing with. So I tried it and I invested in it for 3 months, And for 3 months, after a couple months, I noticed that my back tension was better. I'd had chiropractic, massage. I'd had an injury in college, basically a fall that made me have a lot of back tension. And so it helped. It reduced the inflammation in my back. And I also had some gut inflammation issues, and it helped with that as well. And it helped with my depression. And basically, because we're getting to the root, we're getting to cellular health and genetic health, which I'm going to explain that a little bit more. That's why it could help with such a variety of things. And that's why it can help with hormones. It can help with inflammations. It can help with a lot of variety of things. So we're going to explain how that works. I want to share a really short video with you all. And then we're going to talk about this Protandim a little bit more and why it might be something that you want to learn more about. So I'm going to share this. It's a short video here.
An ABC primetime investigative report that aired.
One moment. So when this product was first developed by Dr. Joe McCord, there was an ABC News report that was done on it. Okay.
In 2005.
You want to
Sorry.
with just a few pills? Who
Restart
doesn't?
this. Hang on. Okay, restarting.
Following is an ABC primetime investigative report that aired in 2005.
You want to get an edge on turning back the clock with just a few pills? Who doesn't? Well, it's no longer science fiction, but science possibility, a potential breakthrough. As I found out firsthand, there may be a way to erase years, at least inside my body. Granted, it's down the road, but some scientists are wondering if a new pill I took might offer a very long life. It may not look like the fountain of youth, but inside this nondescript building, I'm about to become part of an exciting experiment, a kind of guinea pig. Okay. I'm here at the University of Colorado in Denver. This is pretty exciting stuff you're finding, huh?
It is. We're very excited about it.
His latest research could very well unravel the mystery of aging itself. And his decades of experiments may have the potential of adding years to people's lives and possibly prevent chronic diseases like cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. It all centers around this small yellow pill, and for me, it begins with a blood test. Oxidative stress, like the rusting of an engine, is not a good thing.
Bad for the body.
Leading to disease.
Leading to disease and leading to malfunction, and importantly, leading to what we call aging. It is a slow progression of increasing oxidative stress. That's the main characteristic biochemically of the aging process.
It's called Protandim, and tests on both mice and humans have already shown that it revs up the manufacture of those good enzymes in our bodies. More enzymes, fewer free radicals to harm it.
Right now, all we know is that this preparation decreases oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is not a disease, just like aging is not in itself a disease, but it's something that accompanies and is attached to many disease processes.
Have you discovered the fountain of youth?
I wouldn't put it that way, but we may have discovered something that will tell us a lot more about how we age, what happens biochemically, and maybe how we can slow it down.
Normally, oxidative stress, measured by those T-bars, increases with age. Taking just one pill of Protandim a day reversed that trend for everyone at every age, even for an 80-year-old. But what about my progress? After nearly 2 weeks now, it's time to get my results. The result? My level of oxidative stress has declined dramatically.
45%, that's excellent.
Just look at where I fall on the graph, before and after.
Which, if extrapolated back, is the level you would see in a newborn baby.
Have we turned back the clock? Well, maybe not on the outside, but deep inside within my cells. Yes, indeed. High oxidative stress is associated with more than aging. It's been linked to hundreds of illnesses.
It's at the very center of many diseases: liver disease, diabetes, emphysema, asthma. I've studied all of these: strokes, heart attacks.
Even mental disease.
Yes.
Depression?
Alzheimer's disease, depression. But we do know that oxidative stress is part of those disease processes. I don't want to wait until I'm 80 years old and find out that I should have taken it.
When that news report aired on primetime in 2005, many major medical universities began studying Protandim Nrf2. They went on to publish their peer-reviewed research, and the understanding that this product activated our genes, optimizing our own genetic potential, was revealed.
Hopefully you all were able to hear that, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. So the guy that just went into the lab, that was in 2005, he was talking about oxidative stress, if you heard that term. So what is oxidative stress and what causes it? You can see here on this picture that oxidative stress right here in the middle, or free radical damage, affects every area of our body, and we can't get rid of it. It's something that happens all the time. Free radicals are being produced as we eat, as our cells work, also from our environment, or if we have toxins that we put into our bodies, like smoking or alcohol or other substances like that. We have oxidative stress just from sometimes over-exercising or inadequate nutrients. Basically, this is a really big number, but we produce about 300 sextillion free radicals every day, even when we're healthy. So when I learned that, I was like, well, seems like there would be a benefit to reducing my oxidative stress. And even if I'm young, I'm still producing a lot of oxidative stress. And then you can see here all of these areas of our body. These are really small words, but in our kidney, we can get kidney inflammations, joint inflammations like arthritis, lung issues, chronic inflammatory issues with our immune system, with our blood vessels, other organs, heart, skin, etc. Any sort of inflammation is usually a direct link to oxidative stress buildup. And as we age, our body has less and less ability to process that oxidative stress, and we see more and more of the effects of that. We see more inflammations arising and more issues. So Protandim was developed by Dr. Joe McCord to help this problem. It's called Protandim Nrf2, and you don't really have to understand that, but Nrf2 is simply a protein that we have in our body. Protandim Nrf2 activates our internal mechanisms, our internal antioxidants in our cells. So remember, we're talking about oxidative stress here. You can probably have heard of antioxidants. Those are things that get rid of oxidative stress. you can eat antioxidants, but they're only going to get rid of a few of those harmful free radicals at a time. But what Protandim does is it turns on our body's own antioxidants. We actually have antioxidants inside of our body, inside of our cells, and it increases them so they're much more effective. You see here on this slide, these are 3 antioxidants that are increased: SOD, catalase, and glutathione. Glutathione's increased by 300%, SOD by 30%, catalase by 50%. And it was tested on male mice, proven to extend their life by the National Institute of Aging. It's the only supplement that has been shown to do that. As Dr. Joe McCord and John Quinones said in that video, that after his blood was tested, after taking Protandim in just 2 weeks, I believe, his oxidative stress or his level of inflammation went down 45%. The level of a newborn baby. Now that is pretty incredible. So if we can reduce oxidative stress, we can significantly improve our outcome in life and our inflammation levels. And that is just one theory of aging. Since that Protandim was developed, this one that I'm talking about, there were 2 other Protandims developed that address other areas of aging. So we're going to talk about those as well. But briefly, I wanted to show you, this is where I already talked about this, about the antioxidants. You would have to eat approximately 375 oranges or something like that, 120 vitamin C tablets to even get close to what Protandim can do on a daily basis. Just one molecule, one of those internal antioxidants, the SOD inside of our body, just one of those that are activated by NRF2 can get rid of 1 million free radicals per second. So it's much more efficient. And since we're producing so much every day, we might as well have the most efficient, effective way to use what we already have in our body. So it's different than a supplement. A supplement is something like vitamin C or something like vitamin B12 that you have to put into your body. But Protandim is different than a supplement. It activates that protein pathway, the NRF2 pathway. Once that protein NRF2 is activated, then it turns on those internal antioxidants. So we talked about oxidative stress. We are recording this for, I think someone just hopped on. So we're going to talk about 2 other areas of aging that are addressed by Protandim. So let me see here. Why can't I go forward? There we go. Obviously, some supplements that you hear about don't have a lot of research behind them, but Protandim does have a lot of articles on PubMed.gov, which are peer-reviewed and done by different universities like Harvard, American Heart Association, things like that. So you can see that for yourself. If you have any questions, we can help you look that up. Also, it was featured on different news channels, and there are 7 patents on Protandim. So as I was saying, sorry, I forgot I had this slide in here, but Protandim NRF2, actually the NRF2 pathway is becoming a buzzword in medical circles. Recently, I was talking to the pharmacist of the hospital where I work, and I said, are you aware of NRF2? And actually we were talking about it because he said he had heard of, he was taking Protandim. And I said, well, so then you're aware of like what NRF2 does? And he's like, yes, it's very important. And we talked about, I said, why are you taking it? It's not a pharmaceutical. But he said, I realize the value of it. It's the only natural supplement proven to reduce oxidative stress. And it's something I want to do in my body. I want to get rid of oxidative stress for sure, because it's linked to so many things. So a lot of medical people are aware or becoming more aware of what NRF2 is and how important it is for our body. So like I said, there's 2 other protandims that were developed. This one here was the next one that was developed, and it's called Protandim NRF1. Getting a little confusing, but just think the first protandim was for oxidative stress. The second one helps with mitochondria function. You may or may not have heard of mitochondria. Most people have heard of it, but they're not sure what it does. Mitochondria are the factories in your cells that produce energy. Every single cell has several mitochondria. They all produce energy. They all help with basic functions in your cell. And as we age, when we get to 80 years old, our mitochondria function only about 5% of what they were functioning when we were a teenager, when we were 20 years old. So this product allows our mitochondria to then function again as a 20-year-old. It does take some time because we're healing our cells from the inside out, but every time our cells remake, we get healthier, stronger mitochondria when we're using this product. Now, I'm a young person. I'm not even 30 yet. I'm 28. And I was thinking, do I really need my mitochondria to be improved? Well, I've always had needed more sleep than the average person. I would sleep 10 or 12 hours a night, and I felt still groggy the next day. And that was before I had kids. And after I had kids, of course, it was just survival mode. But when I started using this, I slept on average. On average, I sleep about 8 hours, maybe 9 hours a night sometimes, depending on, I'm pregnant, so I need sleep. But I feel way more refreshed than I used to. So we actually need energy, or ATP, from our mitochondria to sleep well at night, to get proper rest and for our cells to heal. It also supports your brain health, healthy circulation, and healthy cardiovascular system. And like Cheryl mentioned, her husband is dealing with some cardiovascular and cholesterol things. I believe cardiovascular and cholesterol, triglycerides. So this is something that is going to be beneficial to him as well. And the last protandim, and all of these are plant-based. I will say that. We can talk more about the ingredients and stuff later. But the last protandim is called Protandim NAD. This one was developed specifically to help with aging, supporting longevity. It allows a specific gene called sirtuins. Actually, I think they're proteins. Sorry, you can look up sirtuins if you feel really sciencey, but it allows the sirtuins to be more effective in our body. So, starting from the beginning, I'm going to explain it again. NAD, this product is not actually NAD, but NAD is a very important molecule in our body. This product called Protandim NAD allows or opens up the ability for the NAD to be more available in our body by 12%. Once the NAD is more available, then it's like a key. It goes and it opens the door so that the sirtuins can come out. Why are sirtuins so important? Sirtuins are like little soldiers or guardians of our DNA. You may have seen a DNA double helix. You may have heard DNA. You don't always understand everything that our DNA does, but it's like a code for all of our functions in our body. Genetics code so many different things, like our eye color, everything else. Sometimes we have genes that are overexpressed or underexpressed. Like if you have extra scar tissue, that's a gene. But sometimes it gets too excited and it gives you too much scar tissue. So supporting and protecting our genetic health is super important. Actually, 90%, well, our genes can be affected 90% by our environment. Sometimes you may have heard of someone who has a chronic illness or something related to the toxins in their environment. They may not even know that, but a lot of genetic issues can be traced to toxins in the environment. So Another quick example is if I had a resume sitting out on the table, and that was like my DNA, and then my little 2-year-old son came over and scribbled on it, that would be like the environment or the environmental factors that affected my DNA. Then when I gave my resume to my employer, he would have a hard time reading it or figuring out who I really was, what my DNA really was. But if I put a laminate over it and it didn't allow my son to ruin it, that laminate is like the sirtuins. The sirtuins are things that protect our DNA. This Protandim, I said, it allows NAD to be in our body by 12%. And then that in turn allows our sirtuins to be available by 100% within 24 hours. So that's pretty amazing. Lastly, I wanted to show you this slide here. And you don't have to be a scientist to understand that if you take each of these protandims by themselves, they work, just like I was saying they worked. But if you take them together, all of these higher bars show how much more our genes are activated. So remember how we were talking about the very first one about oxidative stress, and it reduces oxidative stress by 40%, or it turns on your antioxidant genes by 40%. Now, with all three of them together, it increases to 78%. So we can see here that using all three of them is very beneficial. And if you talk to someone who understands biology, they will say, yes, your mitochondrial function or that NRF1 pathway, the NRF2 pathway, I kind of went out of order, but basically, if you talk to someone who is a biologist or who understands cellular functions, they will say, yes, that NRF2 pathway, the NRF1 pathway, and the NAD pathway, these three different pathways all interact in our body. So when we help one of them, we're helping the other ones too, to be a lot more effective and efficient. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, but there's a very simple lineup of cellular health products that we work with in LifeVantage, which is the company that now sells and markets the products. There's one for dogs. It reduces oxidative stress in dogs. A lot of diseases like heart conditions, arthritis, skin and hair conditions in dogs are linked to oxidative stress. And animals have a lot more oxidative stress than humans sometimes. Then we talked about these three anti-aging protandims. We also have some omega and a probiotic that Cheryl mentioned. The probiotic is super helpful because it's time released. If you've been familiar with probiotics at all, you may have taken a capsule, a powder, or liquid, or you may have heard of time release probiotics, but it's very important to have a time release because our stomach acid kills about 90% of the probiotics that are over the counter. So you can see that having a time release probiotic, this one specifically has been tested to show that it allows 60 to 90% of the probiotic to get where it's supposed to be. Our gut is linked to our brain health, our immune health, and of course, our absorption, digestion, and all of that. So having a very good probiotic to help our gut absorb, digest, improve our immune system is really good. We also have a few other things here that these three in the middle help if you are building muscle, losing weight, or needing more assistance with gut health as well. Axio is like the NRF2, but it's a drink. Some people like to use it instead of coffee or just to help them get through a day when they have to really focus. I know as a registered nurse, sometimes I'll drink one in the morning, one in the afternoon when I'm on a 12-hour shift, and it really helps to clear the brain fog. It increases neurotransmitters, which are in your brain, allows you to think clearer, and improves your mood as well. Lastly, there are some skin and hair products, and those all use the same technology to help your cells in your scalp or your skin, whatever area you're focusing on. They will help reduce oxidative stress. There has been a study done on the skincare that was quite interesting as well, if you want that. And a lot of people have experienced some major improvements, such as more hair growth. It balances the pH of your scalp. So like basically if you have oily hair or greasy hair versus dry scalp, dandruff, you're gonna have a balance. It's gonna be right in the middle. And I know for myself, I don't have any more dandruff. And I used to have really dry skin. I don't have any more dry skin. So that's really helpful. Here's a picture of a dog that was helped with inflammation. Here's a picture of someone's gut that was helped. This is one of our friends. And basically you can see in the top picture, there was a lot of inflammation going on with this. And then as they were able to use the Protandims and the probiotic and the omega, it really helped them to heal up, and they don't have to be on any, like steroids would be something you would have to use for this more chronically, or other medications that help with inflammatory bowel issues like Crohn's, irritable bowel, etc. Here is someone who was using the cream specifically more as an anti-aging regimen, which you can use it as an anti-aging regimen, or you can use it as for inflammation like acne or dry skin. And that's all I have for the slides. If we have any questions, I want to, before we do questions, I just want to say that Cheryl and I and Connie are all sharing from our hearts because we've seen so many people helped. It's not about us, and it's about sharing something, a different perspective on preventative health, and hopefully you were blessed by that. So we're going to have some question time, and I'm going to end the recording.